There we go.
We're live. So many goddamn buttons.
Hello.
What up? Welcome to episode number 61 of Kramer and Jess Uncensored. That's kind of crazy to say. 61
Yeah, it's weird.
episodes.
That's so weird.
Show getting about a year and a half of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
crazy.
just living life.
In case you're new, welcome. So happy to have you here. Thank you for making this the number 2 podcast in the country in Podcast Magazine. That's loyalty right there.
I know, so crazy. Thank you for that. It's so nice of you.
There's literally, Jess, I don't know if you know this little podcasting fun fact. There's 2 million podcasts.
Really?
A little over 2 million podcasts
Really?
in existence. And this one
Yeah.
is the number 2 voted on by fans. So
Thank you.
I call them fam. In case you're new, though, to this show, you should probably be warned. It's not for little ears, yeah?
No, yeah, not for kids. Even if you think they're mature, it's the fact that they probably are, but we are not. So that's why this isn't for children, and it's definitely not like the radio show. So just get a glass of wine and relax.
Mature, because...
and enjoy the ride.
We are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks to everybody that voted. We are going to cover a lot today because, well, actually, no, we'll be back. I'll be back in time for next week's episode.
Yeah, next week will be fun because then we'll get to hear about the wedding that you go to.
So we'll start with Jess because Jess learned a very valuable lesson that I feel like...
And I just taught someone this yesterday, so I feel like this is not like a known thing.
I had to learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
I had to learn this the hard way. And actually, the way I learned this is because one time a listener sent me a video of her breasts. And this was in Panama City. This was in San Diego. And
and y'all wonder how she gets tossed around.
I literally
do not send photos or videos of yourself.
I didn't solicit it. It wasn't like anything that. And I was like, well, and this is shortly after I was either separated or just. I was new in the whole what do I do with the girls, and I thought that.
Oh my God.
I thought that if I went through and unsent a message on Instagram, she would have no idea.
Unsent? You mean unseen?
Unseen. Sorry, unseen.
Right. So, So, obviously, if you don't use this feature, what we're referring to is in your DMs on Instagram, you look at your messages. If it's not open, there's a little blue circle, right? You open it, and then you close it, and then you mark it as unread because you're under the assumption if I mark it as unread, then the person who sent it to me will also think I have not seen it yet.
It would make sense.
Right.
Logically in your head, that makes sense. In actuality,
it's a lie.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
So she sent me this video of her boobs, and I tried to do unsend because I was like, I don't want to
I don't even want to carry. I don't even want to participate in the conversation. So let me just act like I never saw it.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. You know what I mean? It was good, maybe. It wasn't good for my liking.
Whatever.
So a few minutes later, she sent the next message saying, "What, you didn't like it?" And then I was like, "Wait."
What?
Could she have seen? That's when I started everything seemed like a lie in that minute. You know what I mean? Oh my God, did she actually know that I saw this? And so I hit a friend up. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna send you a message.
Yes.
Can you unread it? And then let me see on my end if it says seen. And it said fucking seen.
Yeah. So marking your messages as unread is a lie. They can see that you saw it and you're caught. Yep. So deal with it.
Straight up.
We just learned this.
Just learned it the hard way.
Yes.
And explain. I don't even know how this story ended.
Okay. I get a DM from this girl, and she's like, "Hey, can I talk to you about a few things? If you feel comfortable to text me, here's my number." I get this DM during the show. So I was like, first of all, I'm like, this person isn't even a friend of mine, and I don't really know her that well.
Wait, California?
California.
So early. It would have been hella early.
Right?
Yeah.
But during the show, I'm like, okay, and this is a random person. I'll get into details as to who this person is, but during the show, I don't have time for that kind of shit. So I'm like, what?
Call somebody.
Yeah, what?
The fuck?
Yeah. So I unread it. And then I noticed that I get a double message from that person. And I'm like, hold up. Why did she double message me?
Same thing.
And I opened that one, and she's like, sorry if that came across as cryptic. What I meant as I have questions about your healing journey and a couple other things. And then I asked Kramer, I'm like, hold the fuck up. Did my message, did this bitch just see that I saw this shit? And Kramer's like, yeah, bitch.
Trust me. I'm the king of shady. I know how to get caught up and how not to get caught up. Right.
So the reason why this is a thing, I guess, is... God, this was so long ago. Over 6 years ago, a friend of mine shared that he had feelings for me. And during that time in my life, I was in a very, very bad place. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was doing stupid shit, and I was just basically a tornado, honestly. And so when he shared this information with me, I was like, first of all, no, I'm sorry. But also, like, I don't even, because I'm in such a vulnerable place right now, like, I don't even think that you should be around me, because I don't want to take advantage of someone, of me wanting to have some sort of, like, empathy or support or like from a man, because like there was a lot of shit going on with like different men in my life at that point. And so I knew that like even if I didn't have feelings for him, which I did not, I could possibly just really fuck him over. And because he was a really good friend of mine, I was like, we probably shouldn't even kick it anymore, right? So he was like, no, we should hang out. I just don't want to be your friend, whatever. And so I had no idea, but during that time, he actually was like talking to some girl, which is this girl who messaged me.
So all of a sudden, you've got this like weird guilt complex, right?
But the thing is like I had no idea about her at that point. A lot of us had no idea about her for such a long time because my friend was being super fucking shady.
Kept her in the dark.
Kept her in the fucking dark.
Okay.
During that time, then, you know, fast forward, now he's like, okay, can we be together? Like, we've been hanging out, whatever. And I was like, I literally said what I said. I meant what I meant.
Yeah.
We cannot be together. If you can't respect that, I can't be your friend anymore. So I cut him off.
Okay.
Straight up, right? Him and that girl end up getting together. Now, she's under the assumption I'm the bad guy. I was the one who, like, you know, added some sort of tension why, like, he couldn't, you know, be with her. Or I just became, like, she assumed that it was, like, me. I was the problem, right? And then even, you know, before that point, when we were hanging out during that time as friends, like, she would be mad that him and I were hanging out and would, like, express to him, like, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. So I'm over here looking like I'm a complete bitch when I have no idea that this girl even exists. And at the same time, I'm not even trying to get with the guy.
I feel like every girl, probably every person has like that one person that they're like the most worried about, you know?
And that was me.
That was you.
For
now,
her.
Did she know, this girl know that you had any kind of, he had ever hit you up or like anything? Or did this girl just think that you're just friends, platonic, nothing going on between you two?
I think when she knew that we were friends, she felt uncomfortable because the amount of time that we spent together already.
Okay.
And then I guess
But had no idea that he was like trying to hit you up saying, can we date? Can we do this? Can we do that?
No,
Okay.
she finds that out later on, like as they're together.
He admitted that to her.
He admitted to her that like
Why the fuck would he admit that?
he admits to her that like he had feelings for me or whatever. And then bitch, and then he tells her that like we tried dating, but like because I ghosted him, it didn't work out. Like whatever the fuck he was thinking in his, and you know what? I'm not gonna.
This guy sucks.
I'm not gonna make. And I'm not gonna say that his feelings aren't valid. I feel like when you really want something, maybe to him, like that's what it was in his mind. But like I'm telling you,
I just don't know why he would even involve her in this conversation.
It was just super fucked up.
You know?
Then I would hear through the grapevine because we had like mutual friends that like what she thought about me was just so it broke my heart because like if I knew at all, I would never ever like even tolerate that shit at all whatsoever. I don't give a fuck that he was my friend. Like you can be a good friend, but you can be a shitty ass partner, and he obviously was a shitty guy to her, you know?
Yeah.
So that's that. Never talked to her. Like, and they're together, and I'm assuming that they're like living their dreams. So when she messages me, I'm like,
when's the last time you talked to him before all of a sudden you get this cryptic message from her?
2017.
5 years ago.
Because I said when I cut him off, I cut that fool off.
You haven't talked to them in either of them.
No.
In 5 years.
And then in that time, she randomly hit me up and she messaged me. And she's like, hey, like, I know that you saw that I followed you again. Like, I'm sorry that I unfollowed you. Like, there's, like, this whole situation that I am, like, completely unaware of. Like, I was like, first, I didn't even know you. Like, what is your issue with me? Like, what's going on?
That's
Obviously, I don't know. And, like, she would, like, message me, kind of, like, comment on my things, like, randomly. But again, nothing at all.
Nothing of substance. So all of a sudden, 5 years later,
yes,
after you're the other threat woman in her mind.
And I have no idea, and also not intentional at all whatsoever. And also, I didn't even like him in the first place.
All of a sudden, you get a DM from her.
Like, can I talk to you?
Wow. So what's going through your head at this point? How does it make you feel, Jess?
I was like, dude, first of all, I'm like, girl, how many years has it been? Like, what do you need
Even
from
if
me?
you did, like, fuck him every which way, does it matter 5 years later? I don't. Unless maybe he got caught up and like maybe they're starting to get like getting. Are they like engaged or anything? Do you know at this point?
They broke up.
Oh, they're broken up.
This is what I find out now when I call her.
The fuck? Okay, hang on. Okay, so I'm sorry. So at this point, though, you don't know. At this point, when you get the message, you don't know.
No, yeah,
We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah. So when I get the message, I'm like super confused. I'm like, A, why do you want to talk to me? B, what does this mean?
Like, what's the situation?
And C, like, what's the point of this,
Yeah.
right? So and then, my intent was to unread it and move on with my life. But then when I learned that she obviously saw that I saw, at that point, I was like, okay, let me just like call her.
Okay, so what? Well, first off, what did Uncle Crane say over here?
Kramer was like, do it.
No, I said don't say a fucking word.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. I was like, leave it alone. Like, just who cares? Leave it alone. It's 5 years ago. It's not a big deal. Leave it. Just don't get in touch with her. It's unnecessary at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, my young daughter Jess, she's gonna make me proud. So what did you actually end up doing, Jess?
I let her call me.
Okay, so you did not listen to one fucking thing I said.
I let her call me because here's the thing. Even though like I'm super confused, my thought process was obviously you're still pressed about this for whatever reason, and you and I have never had to talk about this. I've heard that you feel a certain type of way about me. That's not fair, and like maybe our conversation can bring you some sort of closure that you need, and that's fine. So I agree to talk to her.
Does it seem unnecessary though?
For me, yes, but obviously for her, for 6 years later, I'm like, obviously she wants to talk to me for a reason. If I'm still even a thought in your mind when I shouldn't be, that's unhealthy. I shouldn't even be like in your world. Like, who cares about me?
Hey, Celia, good morning, and G, good morning, and Adventurer JoJo on our YouTube show. Does that seem unnecessary for her to have this conversation before she because obviously she had it, but like, am I out of line by saying there's no need for you to have this woman call you? There's nothing to talk about. It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
So like, what in the world? I mean, I will say I would be curious, but did she even have your number? Like, were you guys? So
No.
nothing. You guys had no contact and nothing. Okay. So I want to go back and we'll come back to comments in a couple seconds. In case you don't know, we also do the show live on YouTube. If you just search Kramer and Jess, we do it Wednesdays around 11 o'clock Eastern. Okay, so you actually reached out.
Yeah.
Or she reached out to you.
She's like, here's my number. Like, can you like text me?
God.
Can we call you? And I was like, today. And I was like, okay. So now she calls me and I'm like, hey. And she's like, I just wanted to talk to you about, like, you've been very open about your past relationships and about, like, experiencing emotional abuse and, like, growing through toxic relationships. And I'm just curious if you can, like, share that with me and, like, how that affected you and, like, your part in those situations, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, sure, of course. But why are you asking me? And she's like, I just feel like that might be like the current situation that I'm in. And I just kind of want to get some clarity on it and like your view on that too. And I was like, okay. And so basically, and I felt like, am I being used as some sort of like is she like sharing like information with me about them?
Or like, is this a cry for help?
As
like,
like,
I'd be concerned.
Well, that's
honestly.
what I'm.
Yeah,
one, I was like, is she okay? And then two, I'm like, am I being used to get back at him for something? You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, no, of course, I will totally like share with you. So I go into my past experiences, like how it made me feel, red flags to me, you know, all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And you know, she's just kind of confiding in me about certain things, and which I do genuinely believe that she wanted that, right?
Right.
And then she also like, and I'm waiting for it too. I'm like, there's no way that this is all you want to know. Like, I'm sure you want to like talk to me about like, right? So then she kind of like maneuvers her way and like gets to the question. I forget how she brings it up, but blatantly like, and yeah, and I know you guys dated, and I'm totally over that. And I was like, whoa, like, we did not date. And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, I'm over it. Like, I know you guys had a thing. And I was like, okay, I think you and I should talk about this, because I feel, I'm not saying, and I don't want to say that whatever he has told you is a lie or how he feels is not valid, but I think you and I need to have a conversation of my perspective of the situation, so you understand where I'm coming from, because I feel like if you knew where I was at mentally and like the boundaries that I set, I feel like you'd have a different perception of me, because I obviously know that you feel a certain type of way about me.
Yeah.
I have known for some time. And so, and I didn't think, it's been such a long time, like over 6 years. Obviously, you want to reach out and talk to me for a reason. And if like this is something that you need, then like I'm totally willing to do that. Right?
Okay.
So I break it down to her and I'm like, listen, I never once at any point intended to date your ex-boyfriend or when in your
Wait, at this point, you know they've already broken up?
Yeah, she tells me that they broke up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so,
was this whole unhealthy situation, like, when did they break up? Was she talking about him?
like a week ago.
Oh, okay. So she's obviously talking about him.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
And
it.
I was just like, I never intended
So
to
weird.
do anything. We never had sex. We never kissed, like anything like that. I was very upfront about where I was at mentally and my intentions and what would happen if he didn't respect that. And because he didn't respect that, we stopped being friends, and I have not been in contact with him since then, right?
Yeah.
And so her perception of that whole situation was like completely different, thinking like we dated and we had,
But
and
like,
I had like
why?
a thing for him.
First, okay, listen. As the guy that's had to like shift stories around in my past, I just don't know why in the world he would go to her and be like, "Okay, so I gotta be honest, we dated. Like, you should be really insecure of this girl."
Well, no, I guess during that time when they were just talking, he told because she was like trying to like be with him.
Yeah.
He told her like I have feelings for somebody else, and so eventually, I guess that person was me, and he like shared that with her or something
Okay.
like that. So from the very beginning, I became, and also fuck him for not making her feel secure in the relationship, and fuck him for like still being
That's what I'm
friends with
saying.
me.
I
Like
just
he
don't
should have
get
cut
it.
me out of the, like, you know what I mean?
It
Like,
seems so, unless it was some kind of weird power move or something. Like, I just don't know why in the world
no, he just sounds like a really shitty boyfriend.
he would say that. But okay, so how the whole thing end then?
So the whole thing ends with a good conversation, whatever. And then she's like, I really appreciate you doing this. I might, like reach out to you if like, need some advice about something, but like if I get annoying, let me know. And I think just out of like a natural response without even thinking about it, I'm like, of course, anytime, even though, so like we get off the phone, right?
That's dangerous.
Right. We get off the phone and I realize I said that just because it just came out of me.
Just you text her really quick. Just want to make sure. Also, that means I never want to fucking talk to you again. Bye.
Well, I'm like, you know what? That's actually, like, let's say once in a blue moon if something comes up, okay, would I expect, like, an immediate conversation to occur after an immediate question to be asked of me the very next day? No.
Yeah.
And so the following morning, again, like, during the show, I think it's, like, in the 8 o'clock hour our time, we're doing shit, and she sends me a text message that something was going on, like a deep thing that she was struggling with, like, obviously needed some advice.
That had nothing to do with her? I mean,
No.
with him, I mean?
Just, like, some shit she was going through. Like, she just needed someone to talk to.
Okay.
But, like,
You're like, I
that's
ain't the
not
one.
me.
Yeah, what?
And that can't be me. And also, too, like, I'm at work. Like, that kind of text needs to be sent to, like, one of your best friends because you need support in that moment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, and I told you that, right? And I told you that. Remember,
Yeah.
I like, told you what happened? And I asked Kramer, like, what do I need to do? And Kramer's like, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, just don't say anything, right? And I wasn't. But then I was like, I feel like respectfully, I should be allowed to say that one, I don't want to be fake because I realized what I said the day prior. And two, I feel like I'm tired of feeling sorry for like setting boundaries for myself, and I shouldn't feel bad for that.
Okay.
So I sent her a text and was like, hey, I'm really thankful. I hope you're doing okay now. I was at work during that time. I am thankful that we had our conversation yesterday, but I feel like when you're in moments like that, you really need support, and you deserve that. But I can't be that person for you.
Mm-hmm.
And just because there's a lot of history there, like I can't get involved, and I have to set boundaries, you know?
Yeah.
And like before I sent that text, I shared it with Garage Boy, and he was like, I don't know, that sounds kind of mean. And I was like, why is setting boundaries mean? Like, we had the conversation. That should be enough. And I feel like moving forward, I shouldn't be the bad guy for saying, like, you can't confide in me in this kind of shit.
Yeah, it just all seems so unnecessary. I just don't know why she's coming to you other than to, like, get that thing cleared up. And now, bitch, we haven't talked to her in 6 months.
I'm thinking...
I mean, 6 years. Like, what are we doing? Now why? Like, why are we coming? Why?
I'm assuming, at least from her point of view, maybe that's what she needed since that relationship is over. If that whole ordeal is something that ate at her this whole time, maybe just to kind of, like, close that chapter,
Sure.
okay? But, like, yeah, so that's that. And I was like, we can't talk anymore.
And what'd she say?
She was thankful that I was honest with her.
Okay. That's the weirdest story I've heard all year. Hands down.
That's
weird.
the weirdest thing I've on the planet. I
It's
didn't expect that at
such a
all.
weird. I just don't. It doesn't really make any sense of kind of like what's going on. Celia on our YouTube show says that she wanted you to resonate with her
Okay.
But you guys didn't have the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
So so she's kind of be like, yeah, girl, he was like that to you, right? Okay.
That would make
makes sense.
Celia.
She's like, when you guys were dating, and you were like, whoa, wait, we never dated.
Okay, that totally makes sense. Just kind of looking for someone that she could kind of like
yeah,
could understand. Okay.
I mean, yeah. And then Adventurer JoJo says it sounds like this has been weighing on her mind for a long time.
Which is why I decided to talk to her in the first place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's a. I mean, let's keep in mind the guys that don't reach out to her in the first place. But there you go. A week's full of drama and a good podcast story. So it's
there you go.
We'll take a quick break here on this podcast and come back here in a second. All right. So what do you want to talk about? The wedding or my penis?
Ew, the wedding.
I really want to tell you this penis story.
I guess.
Oh, let's talk about the wedding though. So I'm going to my acquaintance's wedding this week.
You're so dramatic.
And what's that song? Somebody that you used to know, you went and cut me out.
Kramer thinks that just because he put someone in his wedding that he's automatically supposed to be in their wedding party. That's his assumption that he's made in his mind.
It's just awkward. It's just not. I mean,
oh my god.
Okay, so I'm going to my buddy Miguel's wedding this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm honestly, here's the thing. Here's the truth before we make the drama out of it. Like, I'm happy. I'm happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that like had to fight through like so many things in his life, and
he deserves love, and he deserves
and he found a guy that I know really makes him happy, and
yes.
that makes me so happy for him
Absolutely.
because I love this guy at the bottom of my heart. I think he's one of the greatest humans on the planet, right?
Yes.
So I'm so excited to be there this weekend. You know me, I think weddings are stupid.
Right.
So like, but
you do feel that way.
I am excited about
to see your friend
to go celebrate with these two.
Absolutely.
Just Miguel's life in general, I feel like deserves to be celebrated.
Yes.
So I'm feeling a certain, this little tinge, just a little pinch, because Miguel was in my wedding, one of my groomsmen, right?
How long ago?
What, 10, 12 years ago? 12 years ago now, I guess.
Yes.
And I just assumed, because we had been friends consistently
for a long amount of
for
time.
a long time. And Miguel and I have been friends. We didn't meet through radio. Miguel and I were friends first before we did a radio show together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like him and I will be lifelong friends.
Yes.
We don't talk all the time, but like probably once a month, we'll have a conversation, typically about radio. It's like our forming bond now.
Right, right.
Check in with each other, see how the other one's doing, or
casually, once a month, casual check-ins.
I can't tell you the last time I talked to him on the phone.
Right.
I can't, just to put it in respect. But I just assumed that when he announced he was getting married,
that you'd be on that list.
that I would be on the groomsmen list, right? So I'm just we're talking about on the radio show today, and I don't know, like it. Do you have, like, okay, for example, let's just, I'm going to have a hard time. Let's say Stephanie, your friend Stephanie.
Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, she got married without telling me.
Yeah, how'd that make you feel?
I was bummed that I didn't know. And here, you know what? No, this is perfect. This is so perfect. So one of my best friends, Stephanie, got married, didn't tell anybody. And that like really hurt me, and I was bummed, but like whatever, live your life. So there's a time where I think she says that like they eventually want to like have an actual wedding. And at the time, in that moment, I was like, we were talking about, her maid of honor. And she told me that it would be James's sister. And she's like, that you're like my fucking ride or die.
Okay.
But you know that it has to be James's sister. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I respect that.
It does?
I mean, for her and like the dynamic and the relationship that she and James have with James's sister and stuff like that, and like and for like family and like respect and shit, I do.
Okay.
And because it's not my wedding and not about me, I respected that, and I respected her decision, and I did not give her once out of not even an ounce of attitude about it.
And I would never say a word to Miguel. I would never in a million years say a word. I'm not saying, do I need to go confront him and cuss him out and say, fuck you? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it stings because I assumed that I was going to be a groomsman because I made him one of my groomsmen. It's not like we had like a falling out or even like a separation of friendship. We don't talk all the time.
No, exactly. Your friendship is just in a different place, and you guys.
He's like one of 5 people in my life that like if they call me today and they're like, hey, listen, I need you to drop everything and come down here and help me with something, I would for sure be there.
Yeah.
And I don't have a lot of those people. You know what I mean? So like just assumed that I would be. So I would be dishonest if I said like it didn't have this little pang of like, well, are we just not?
No,
close?
I don't.
Because he did this whole thing on his Instagram about like here's the people that are gonna be in my grooms. And I'm like, what the fuck are these people?
Exactly.
What is this fucking, you know this guy for 3 months?
No,
fucking,
but
like, what is this guy?
Exactly though.
It's your ride or
Exactly.
die over here, homie.
That's my point exactly. I feel like and I'm not saying that you guys aren't close, and I'm not saying that the friendship that you've had and the things that you've gone through don't matter. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is, as time and life goes on, you create relationships, and like those people that are going to be in his wedding, obviously he's, grown close to in his life that he's currently in. And like if that's his inner circle that he's with constantly, day to day, talking with day to day, hanging out with every weekend, obviously you don't know how their relationships have progressed, and that doesn't mean you don't matter to him. You're obviously still special to him, but you can't take that personally.
Burn that fucking wedding down this weekend.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God.
make a scene when they say anybody object, I'll be like, I'll object to one fucking thing.
You're so lame.
Name's groomsmen.
You're so lame.
The fuck, you probably know their names. Tell me 3 facts about these guys on the fucking stage. I bet you couldn't. So that's the wedding. Other things that Jess, we find in notoriety is that, and I don't think I have time to talk about this on the radio shows, I don't have an outfit for the wedding. And my plan was, because I was going to go this weekend, but it's cold, and I was just kind of a funk this weekend. I didn't feel like leaving the house. And I was like, maybe I'll just go buy an outfit while I'm there.
That could not be. I literally.
And Jess is
never
like, what the
heard-
fuck? Why would you do that?
No, I
And
was
I'm
like,
like,
that's the
a
worst thing.
genius idea.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Because then I don't have to travel with the outfit. I don't have to, like, because I'm doing Spirit, and Spirit costs literally, I think it's like $50 a bag to bring. So I'm bringing a backpack for the weekend. That's it. Bring a backpack. So I'm going to have to, I'm like, that actually makes more sense to buy an outfit down there.
Yeah.
And then I'll figure out a way to, like, get it back on the plane. And maybe I'll do, like, a carry-on bag or something, and I can, like, shove it in just to make it work. But Jesse, that's a terrible idea.
No, it's the worst thing ever, because then you're going to be crunched on time. It's going to add even more stress because you're going to be looking at the clock of how much time you have, that you now, instead of like actually being on vacation, you have to fit in there, finding a mall, finding a way to get to the mall, trying things on. And if you don't find something you like in like a kind of decent amount of time, it's going to make you freak out even more. You literally want to go shopping the day of the wedding.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to, if it saves $50 round trip, I mean,
I don't know. I hate it when you put yourselves in situations that literally
stress
make
me
you
out.
stressed out, and
I
it's
don't know.
stupid.
I might try to throw something together. I just don't know that any of my clothes, my like nicer clothes, fit me right now because I'm skinnier than I was like when I was wearing nicer clothes, So I don't know. I literally have no idea. I'm leaving in 24 hours, and I've
Why
literally.
can't you just go to the mall today?
I have no time today. I got no time today. I got to get Mama's Boy done for 5 more days. I got no time. So I don't think there's anything else for the wedding we need to talk about right now. I'm sure I'll have some stories when I get back. Okay, Jess, when you go to the gynecologist, do you feel uncomfortable?
No.
You're just like, here's my badge, like, check it out.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but like, I wonder if you're. By the way, can we get a poll on that on YouTube really quick?
It's just like annoying, but you're like, I know what I'm here to do.
But
You
like,
know why I'm
are you
here.
like, you just like pull your badge out and you're just like, what's up?
Yeah.
Or you're. We'll go with women first. Women have to do it every single year.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
like, it's kind of routine, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be as I'm gonna be as honest with you as possible about this conversation, because when the time I was done, I felt like the biggest fucking idiot.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, and you know me. First off, you need to know, if you don't know this podcast well, I'm a huge hypochondriac. And so I'm kind of wondering if most people would have done this the same way I would have done it, okay? I found a spot on my penis head.
Like a freckle?
It wasn't a freckle. It was more like a red raised area.
Okay. Like a bite?
Could have been a bite.
I'd assume that you got bit by a spider.
It was just like that big on the YouTube. I mean, like big enough for me to be like, what the hell is going on? What is this?
Did it hurt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, what would you have done? If you saw that on your genitals,
Yeah.
what would you have done? What's the again, my perspective is so
I would
different.
assume that a spider crawled inside of me and bit me. And I was gonna
That's
turn
your first thing.
And I was gonna turn into Spider-Man. I was gonna deal with it.
Spider badge.
Like literally, no. When shit like that goes down, and I think because vaginas are so sensitive and shit goes on, you just kind of gotta wait it out. And if like something happens, you like notice it. And if it's like an issue, like for a couple of weeks, I'm like, all right, I could maybe. But like,
So-
I don't like automatically assume that I'm dying and like need to figure it out and sending pictures of my vag to my doctor immediately. That's what I'm not doing.
So here it is. I said, listen, it's probably nothing because I'm really trying to get better about just hopping on, calling the doctor, and freaking out. I'm like, because I've done that 100 times and only one time has it been right. So I'm like, chances are I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, I'm gonna give it 10 days. That's a long time. 10 days. And if I'm still noticing something, and every day I wake up, the first thing I do is look at my penis, and I'm like,
It's
fuck,
still there.
still there. Every time I go pee, there it is. Like I'm obsessed. I literally wake up from a nap, still there. Then I'm taking photos of it to like compare it from one day to the next. I'm like, what is this? Not doing well with this at all.
Are you
right?
just getting older? Like, is that just something that happens to you when you get old?
No, I've always been like this.
No, I'm saying like.
Oh, just a
things
penis
happen to your
spot? I don't
penis.
know. Maybe this is 40. I don't know at this point. But the number one thing that's going through my head at this point is I have herpes, and now I'm going to have to. Like it's the only thing I have in my head. And every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, I have herpes, and then like I'm like, let's do the show, and like Jess is talking, and like, she's like, the top 3 is brought to you by. I'm like, okay, I have herpes. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I have herpes. So like, and like I'm every time I'm walking, I'm like, do I feel it right now? It was like taking over my life.
Yeah.
So day 10 was Monday, and I'm like, I need to like do something about this because no matter what, I just need to get the thought out of my head.
Yeah.
Because now I'm being obsessive over it, right?
Yeah. Now you're making yourself sick.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a teledoc visit because that seems like the least invasive and least awkward situation. Because when
Really? That's what you think?
Well, because your general doctor, you have to see forever. You know what I mean? So like, and that takes some time. And I want an answer like now. I know teledoc, I can hop on like within minutes. I can go on and see somebody about my penis spot.
I automatically think like OnlyFans, and here's my shit on the fucking screen.
So here you go. So if you've never done teledoc before, and this should be a sponsored ad, if you have to go on there and describe your symptoms, right? And so literally, I'm like, spot on the head of my penis. And then it's like, okay, cool. Next slide, right?
Ew.
Then it said, please upload
A photo?
3 photos.
Ew! You're sexting with teledoc. That's gross. Ew.
I'm sitting over here like,
That's so
you
gross.
watch the YouTube show. I'm like, and like, y'all, this, honestly, God, photo is still on my phone, which I need to delete because like, but you're trying to get like the lighting right. You're trying to make it like, and like, honestly, this is so stupid, but I'm like, I got to make it look like
terrible.
no, like impressive. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Oh
like,
my
if I got to
fucking
send somebody a
God,
picture of my penis, like, I don't want it because I took one. I'm like,
You're so lame.
it looks small.
You're
Like, it looks
low.
small.
You're so lame. You're so lame.
So I'm sitting there y'all for 10 minutes, like I'm kind of like flexing in one, like no, I'm just kidding, not that bad, but like I'm literally like trying to pick out the best shot of my penis to send. Of
Oh
you
my
know,
God, these poor people.
and I sent one from like a couple days before Tuesday, like see the progress of this, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know, honestly, I don't know who's gonna answer this call. I don't know if it's better if it's a dude. I don't know if it's better if it's a woman. I have no idea who's gonna answer, right? So teledoc, maybe 2 minutes later, I get a notice on my app say, hey, Dr. Brown it's all said, Dr. Brown is looking at your file. We'll call you soon. And I'm like, fuck, all right. So he's now obviously looking at my dick pic.
Yeah.
To like, and it's weird, right? It's weird to like, where's this photo going? It's in a cloud somewhere.
Yeah.
And someone's gonna see my penis at one point.
Yeah.
So a guy comes on, and he sounds to be like my age, which also makes me uncomfortable, but whatever. So he's like, hey, so and like I've already said on the app what's going on. Okay, like you know what's going on. First thing he says, so what's going on today? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, thank you for receiving my call. So I like stumble, I'm sweating, like, so I just noticed a spot on my penis, and it's been like it's been a few days, and I just wanted to see, like, I'm just kind of freaking out about it, and like just just bumbling through this conversation with this doctor, right? He's like,
It's the herp.
Well, he was like, how STD at high STD risk are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, not great. And actually, funny story. I'm such a hypochondriac. I was at my doctor like 2 weeks ago for an STD test because I'm a fucking weirdo.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I was like, I know it's not syphilis. I know that. I was like, honestly, like my biggest concern right now is that it's herpes. He was like, mm-hmm. And like literally this man may have paused for 19 minutes. It was probably 5 seconds, but it was like, I don't think it's herpes.
Okay.
It doesn't look like herpes to me. That's good.
So what is it?
He goes, have you had any like lifestyle changes recently? I was like, no.
Stress induced.
Yeah, I was like, he's like, He's like, I gotta ask you a question. And I don't want to make it uncomfortable, but have you been masturbating more recently?
Oh, no way. No way.
And I was like,
obviously.
I
That's
was
all
like,
I do.
well, I was stuck at home for 10 days by myself with
You're
literally no other human.
You're
I was
like every fucking day.
I was like, yeah, I did.
It's a reaction?
He's like, I think what's happened is you've rubbed your penis too hard and too much.
Oh my god, oh my god. What are you, 13? Oh my god. That man was like, God, this is so stupid.
Can you imagine?
All I'm imagining.
Man being like, I think you just jerked off too much, to be honest with you, dude.
All I'm imagining is this poor guy. It's like so many calls like this because so many dudes are like stuck at home. And
40% of his calls are like STDs.
He's like, fuck, it's another fucking masturbating like call. Like, I'm so sick of this shit. I'm so sick of seeing dick pics because these bitches can't get their shit together. Poor
How many
guy.
dicks do you think he saw that day, wondering if they'd rubbed their dick too hard?
Honestly, constantly. Wouldn't be surprised if that's like a common thing going on right now.
So he was like, he was like, you could put some hydrazone, what is that stuff's called, on it, and he's like, give it 5 days. He's like, honestly,
relax.
he's like, do yourself a favor, don't masturbate for 5 days, and like, if it's not better than
relax.
He's like, I think what's happening, you just keep rubbing the skin, and it keeps getting irritated. I'm like,
yeah.
That's a quarantine side effect I didn't see coming. So,
oh my god. Well, there you go.
38, still herpes free, ladies. Hey, hey, actually all STD free. Hey. All right, that's it. I really enjoyed your episode of Low Key, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Jess, are you back, or that was just like a one-off?
I just kind of live my life. So if it's in my journey, it'll be in my journey.
You're really good. She's a good podcaster. So if you'll go check out. By the way, Celia said that she's dead. That's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Literally just jerked off too much.
Literally.
Laura K said she's got a 3-day rule. Still there in 3 days to get it checked. I waited 10. I was proud of myself. Just jerking off too much. I'm okay.
Yep.
Jess has got a podcast. If you want to go listen to it, Jess, how?
It's called Low Key on all platforms, and you can follow me on IG at Just Do It, JESSDUITT. There's a link in my bio to get all my stuff in there too.
My podcast is called Certified Mama's Boy. #1 podcast in the country. It's fine. Who's counting? I am. Every month I check.
Good.
But thank you for voting for us. Social media is That Guy Kramer. We'll be back next week. I'm going to try to not jerk off for a couple of days. And until then, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I have to pee.
Bye.